All right, today for bell work, we are doing some more problems where we are solving equations. So remember, an equation has an equal sign. When we're solving an equation, we are trying to get the variable on one side of the equal sign by itself. Remember, a variable is a letter that represents an unknown quantity. So in this problem, actually in all four of these problems, the variable is x. So we want to get x on one side of the equal sign by itself, everything else on the other side. So for number 1, 2x minus 8 plus 3x minus 12 equals 60. The first step is to combine like terms. On the left-hand side of the equal sign, we want to see what things we can combine. So first I'm going to go through all of my terms that have an x. I'm going to highlight those blue. All of my terms that don't have an x here, they're just numbers, just constants. I'm going to highlight those green. And then I'm going to reorder the left-hand side of my equation here so that the like terms are next to each other. This isn't a necessary step to show, but it will help you when combining like terms. So we have 2x plus 3x, because I'm going to put my terms with the x's first. And then in green we have minus 8 minus 12. And of course we have to bring down the right-hand side of the equal sign, the equals 60. Now we can easily combine our like terms. The blue terms are next to each other, so the x terms, 2x plus 3x is 5x. And then negative 8 minus 12, if you're like, ooh, I don't really know what that is, type it in Desmos. Remember, we learned how to use the graphing calculator Desmos today in class. That's the calculator that you can use on the end of course state air test. It's embedded in there, and that's the calculator that we're going to use in class this year. So we're going to get super good at navigating Desmos. So if you type in negative 8 minus 12, you will see that that is equal to negative 20. And then, of course, we need to bring down the 60. Now, the goal is to get x on one side of the equation by itself. So since we have this minus 20 here, we need to move it over to the other side. So you have to ask yourself, what is the opposite of subtracting 20? Adding 20. So we're going to add 20 to both sides of the equal sign. Because remember, in algebra, whatever you add to one side, not whatever you add, whatever you do, it doesn't always have to be add. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. So these 20s cancel out, they go away. So then we are left with 5x equals 80. Because Desmos will tell you 60 plus 20 is 80. All right, now this 5x, this is like 5 times x equals 80. We just don't write that multiplication symbol in there. So to get x by itself, we have to ask ourselves, what is the opposite of multiplying by 5? Dividing. So we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 5. These 5s make my favorite thing, a giant 1, because remember, any number other than 0 divided by itself is 1. So then we are left with x, or 1x, equals 80 divided by 5 is 16. So 1x equals 16. That is our final answer. I'm going to highlight it pink or purple. Not sure what you call that color. All right, number 2, 2x plus 1 equals 3x minus 4. Here we have, on the left-hand side of the equal sign, we don't have any like terms. On the right-hand side of the equal sign, we don't have any like terms. So we have no like terms to combine. We're going to have to go straight to moving things over. So remember, the goal is to get x on one side of the equation by itself. So the first step here is I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides of the equation. You could have subtracted 3x from both sides of the equation. I usually like to take the smaller amount and move it over. So here 2x and 3x, 2x is smaller, so I'm going to move it over to the other side because it will help us try as much as we can to avoid negative numbers. All right, these x's go away. So then we're left with 1 equals 3x minus 4 minus 2x, because we're bringing that minus 2x over. All right, now we do have some like terms over here. So just like last time, I'm going to highlight the terms with an x blue, because we know those are the ones that we're going to be able to combine. So 1 equals 3x. I'm not going to reorder the equation this time like I did over here, but you can. Here we don't have as many terms that we need to combine, so I'm just going to say, okay, I'm going to combine these blue terms. 3x minus 2x, that gives us 1x, and then I still have to bring down this minus 4. I'm almost there. I almost have that 1x on one side of the equal sign by itself, but I have this minus 4 over here. So you have to ask yourself, if I want to move it over, what is the opposite of subtracting 4? Adding 4. And I'm going to add 4 to both sides of the equal sign. 1 plus 4 is 5 equals 1x. Because these cancel each other out. These 4's go away. And then you are done. You can also write it as 5 equals x. You don't have to write the 1 in front of the x. Or you could even write x equals 5. They're all the same. All right, number 3, 6x plus 4x minus 8 equals 52. On the left-hand side of the equal sign, we're going to see we do have some like terms. 6x and 4x, those are like terms, so I highlight them both blue. They both have an x. Negative 8, it's not like them. It doesn't have an x attached to it, so I'm going to highlight it yellow. Now let's go through and combine those like terms. So 6x plus 4x is 10x. We're going to just bring down this minus 8. It's still a part of the equation. We can't just forget about it. Equals 52. What is the opposite of subtracting 8? Adding 8. So we're going to move that 8 over by adding 8 to both sides of the equal sign. Those 8's cancel out. We get 10x equals 52 plus 8 is 60. So 10x equals 60. Now remember, that 10x, that is like 10 multiplied by x. So it's like 10 times x. The opposite of multiplying by 10 is dividing. So you're going to divide both sides by 10. These make a giant 1. So you get 1x equals 6. Final answer. All right, number 4, x plus 13 equals 6x minus 17. On the left-hand side of the equal sign, do we have any like terms? Nope. On the right-hand side of the equal sign, do we have any like terms? Nope. So now we need to move stuff around. We need to move things over. I'm going to take this x and subtract it from both sides. Because remember, when there's no symbol in front of there, that's like a positive x. A positive 1x. How do I move it over? I subtract it. These cancel out. 13 equals 6x minus 1x is 5x minus 17. We're super close to having x by itself, but this minus 17, I need to move it over. So what's the opposite of subtracting 17? Adding. So we're going to add 17 to both sides. 13 plus 17 is 30 equals 5x, because these cancel out. We can cross them off. So now we have 30 equals 5x. This is 5 times x, so the opposite of multiplying by 5 is dividing. So giant 1, we get 6 equals x, or you can write 6 equals 1x. Both are equivalent. They're the same. All right, the very last problem, which I think I'm going to actually rewrite over here so I have some more room to do it. What do we have? 4x plus 15 equals 6x minus 5. So this is number 5. 4x plus 15 equals 6x minus 5. All right, on the left-hand side of the equal sign, no like terms. On the right-hand side, no like terms. So now we need to start moving things over. I always like to look at my x's first. I'm going to move over the 4x because that's our smallest amount of x's. We have 4x and 6x. 4 is smaller than 6, so I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. All right, these cancel out. We get 15 equals, I'm not going to write the 4x at the end here. I'm just going to do the subtraction. So 6x minus 4x is 2x, and then we have to bring down that minus 5. The opposite of subtracting 5 is adding 5. So we're going to add 5 to both sides to get 20 equals 2x. Because remember, these cancel out. They go away. And now the final step. This is like 2 times x. What is the opposite of multiplying? Dividing. Divide both sides by 2. We get 10 equals x. And we are done.